I first moved to Gorton in 1959.
I've lived in Gorton all my life.
I'm living in Gorton from last 7 years.
On my dad's side, all his family were all in the cotton trade, so they were from around the Chancellor Lane area. It was the first time I'd lived under electricity. We walked out on the veranda and right in front of us was a monastery, Gorton Monastery.
When I was a child, it was a very close-knit community. People knew each other and it was a working class area.
I had heard so many rumors in the negative light about Gorton, that it is a rough area, but I'm happy with my decision to choose Gorton as my home.
So my name's Sarah Butler. I'm a writer, so I'm a novelist, and I do a lot of work around writing in place. So I'm particularly interested in finding ways to platform people's stories in specific places. So this project came about through a conversation between myself and Manchester City of Literature, thinking about writing in place and particularly neighbourhoods in Manchester that we were interested in. It came from a conversation which turned into an idea about working with a specific group of people over a period of time to kind of explore an area through walking and talking and storytelling and see what sort of themes and what kind of stories felt important to people who live here. We started by going on a walk together, meeting each other for the first time and just talking about our relationship with Gorton. And from that, we developed themes sort of attached to different people, so they would then lead walks.
The walk I did, and I led on, was to go down the industrial side, which took us down Gorton Lane. And obviously I wanted to show off Bay of Peacock, which were world-class locomotive engineers. I started work there in 1964, age 15. My brother had already got a job at Bay of Peacock and I followed him there. I just wanted to be part of the industrial landscape of Gorton.
I thought I knew quite a lot about Gorton, but on the course when I met George, he knows everything. The engineering factories I wasn't aware of. I've subsequently learned that Gorton had the most engineering in the world in such a small area.
On the walk that I led, we started off at the hub and then we worked our way up to Abbey Hay, which is where I spent my childhood.
It's been a mix of people, so from me who doesn't live in Gorton, doesn't know Gorton, through to people who've been here for maybe 3 years, maybe 10 years, through to people who've lived here and have had generations of their family living here. And I feel like we've all learned something from each other and that's been really great to be part of. I think walking and talking is very different to sitting around a table and talking, so that's been a really fluid, organic way of experiencing and discovering a place. So we've been doing bits and bobs of writing along the way. We tended to walk and then come back to the library and have a cup of tea, and sometimes we've chatted and I've recorded it and created new work myself from those recordings. Sometimes people have written poems, or we've looked at specific words that we've associated with Gorton, or we've just written reflections of the walk and the kind of experiences we've had. It's been quite lovely actually over the project that we came across this decrepit box by the side of the road and had a conversation about it and what it was, and nobody knew what it was. George went away and discovered that it was a Lucy box, which is something associated with the trolley buses and the electricity supply. I'm being vague because I don't know the complete details. And he discovered that in quite a lot of places they've been restored and are actually quite beautiful pieces of street furniture and also obviously historical. And Julie, who's obviously a councillor in Gorton, is looking at whether we can now restore those boxes. So that feels like a really lovely concrete thing that's happened because of those conversations and research. And I got really excited about those being story boxes, this idea that maybe there's a QR code, maybe there's something on some way of kind of connecting stories and the history and heritage of the place to that specific piece of heritage. We've talked about creating a book, we've talked about writing very short stories, and we've talked about audio recording. So it's kind of, I guess we talked about, creating books and leaving them around the neighbourhood for people to find. So I think there's a lot of different ideas, and I guess it's just finding something that feels like it would fit.
So the poem that I wrote about Gorton is, Gorton is like spring where different plants and flowers bloom. People from diverse communities call it home. Gorton is like a date tree having strong and firm roots deep in the ground. Despite rich and significant history, it is uncrowned. Gorton is like beautiful horse which is powerful, energetic and tough. For some, Gorton area is rough, while others think this is bluff. Gorton is like a delicious plate of biryani, and a hot cup of tea. Some want to stay here permanently, but some want to flee. Gorton is like a comfortable train with many compartments. People love Gorton whether they live in houses or apartments. Gorton is like a cozy and comfy recliner chair to rest after a tiring day. It is peaceful and beautiful, no matter what other people say.